Welcome to the Westcott Crochet channel and welcome to this frilly off-shoulder summer top. I used about 600 metres of the blue and 300 metres of the white on this one. Both yarns were lightweight acrylic and I used the 4mm hook recommended. If you like this one, throw me a thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. You can also follow me on Instagram, and if your account is set to public, do tag at Westcott Crochet on any pictures of your Westcott Crochet projects. Today I'm working in rows up and down across the body horizontally. So I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up to the top with the start chain. And it's going to go from the bottom up to my underarm. And I've added an extra 4 centimetres because it's stretching horizontally across the body. You do lose a little bit of height. So an extra 4 centimetres to cover that. I'm going to chain 60. I have my 60 chains. I'm actually going to chain 2 more, and that's purely to turn. I'm not going to work into these turning chains this time. This is not a replacement stitch. I'm going to turn the chain and work into the back bumps. So skipping the first 2 into the third back bump, I'm going to work a double crochet. So yarn over, into the back bump, pull back a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Into the fourth back bump, same deal, and all the way down. 1 double crochet in each back bump of my chain. I have my 60 double crochets here at what is now going to be the top. I'm going to add a second double crochet into this very last stitch. And I'm just going to start curving up onto the underarm. So that was the double crochet row. I'm going to work back down to the bottom with a back loop slip stitch row. I'm also going to increase, so I'm going to chain 2, and starting from the second back loop, yarn over and pull through everything for a slip stitch. Back loop again and slip stitch. Not too tightly, you don't want to pucker it, so nice and loose, and just slip stitch the whole way down. I'm just here down at the bottom at the last stitch. Here's my last stitch. Don't want to work the chain 2, that's going to stay unworked. For the last stitch only, I'm going to go through both loops and slip stitch. Then I'm going to chain 2, turn around, and I'm going to be still working the back loops all the way back up to the top, double crochet this time. So double crochets from bottom to top, slip stitches from top to bottom. Here at the top, extra double crochet into that top stitch to keep the slope going. Chain 2. First one's a turn chain, second one is the increase. So from the second back loop, slip stitch back down. At the end, I'll work the slip stitch into both loops at the bottom, chain 2, come back up, back loop, double crochet all the way up to the top, 2 in the top. And I'll just keep doing that until this section reaches to the front of my body. That's all I need for my underarm section. I've stopped at the top here with 2 double crochets. That's where you need to be. From here, I'm going to work straight up. I'll just pop a diagram up to show you where I'm aiming for. From where you stopped at the underarm, you want to work up to the height of the dotted line that you see here. For me, I just need to chain at 10. I'm going to chain an extra one just to turn. I'm not going to work into that turn chain. So starting from the second chain, slip stitch, and slip stitch all the way back down the chain. Very carefully. Back at the main body of the work, regular stitches, just carry on as normal, all the way down to the bottom. I slip stitched all the way down to the bottom, and then I chained 2 and turned and double crocheted all the way back up to the top. And at the top, just 1 stitch, because I'm not sloping anymore. I want to go straight across the front of the body. So I'm going to keep working those rows, slip stitch down, double crochet back up, no more increases at the top here. So the slip stitch turn is just 1 chain, and then miss that turn chain and work into the next stitch. And then slip stitch all the way back down, chain 2 and double crochet all the way back up to the top, just 1 stitch in the last one, until I get right way across my body. I made it all the way across the body. The last row across the body was the slip stitch row down from top to bottom. I've worked my way back up again with the double crochet row, but I'm actually going to start sloping now down for the underarm on the other side. Over here I chained 10 to work my way up, so I've marked the 10th stitch on the way down, and I've stopped just 2 stitches short of that marked stitch with my double crochet row. I'm going to work those 2 stitches together to work a decrease, double crochet decrease. So yarn over, in through the first back loop, pull back a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, leaving 2 on the hook, yarn over for the second stitch, in through the back loop, pull back a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, 3 loops left, yarn over, pull through all 3, and that works those 2 stitches together as one. So the next row is a decrease row of the slip stitch variety, and I don't chain at all in this instance. I'm just going to turn around, and I'm going to start from the second back loop. So just skip over that first stitch, and the second back loop, just work 1 back loop in each stitch from there all the way down to the bottom as normal. Then I'll chain 2, work back up with a double crochet row and work the last 2 together, and I'm going to work the same amount of rows, decreases, as I worked increases on this side. I've worked all my decrease rows, and I'm back to 60 stitches down here, the same as I started over here. Once you have one piece, you need to go back to the beginning and make a second exactly the same. So I have my 2 panels. I'm going to join them together now. I've lined them up with the outside facing outside. So the ribs, the slip stitch rib rows are on the outside. If you can see on the inside, it's smooth. I don't know if you can tell on camera. And then the outside has a ribbed effect. So both ribbing sides are facing the outside. The panels start and end with double crochet rows, and I'm going to seam them up with a slip stitch row on the outside. I'm just going to line myself up to work that on camera. So here I'm all lined up with the 2 sides next to each other, right side out as I mentioned. I've got the tops of the stitches, so 2 loops for each, so 4 in total. I'm going to go in through loop number 1, which is nearest to me. I'm going to skip loops number 2 and 3 and take loop number 4, which is furthest away from me, on the other side. And then I'm just going to work a slip stitch. So again, exterior loop only, skip the 2 middle ones and just work a slip stitch. And I'm going to work that way the whole way down, matching stitch for stitch on either side. So here I've worked my slip stitch seam, and as you can see, it just forms like a regular slip stitch row and follows across with the pattern. I'm going to work the same seam on the other side, and I'll come back. I have both sides seamed up now. I'm just going to pop this to one side and work on the top section. Measure all the way around the body, including the arms, as you see here. I'm just going to work a chain to my measurement, and the chain needs to be a multiple of 6. I'm just going to start with a chain of 10. And then I'm just going to take off my hook, feed it through chain number 1, and then pop it back on. Because I'm going to form a loop ultimately with this chain, and I just want to make sure that my chain doesn't get twisted. So I'll carry on and work my chain as long as I need it to be, in a multiple of 6 chains. So I've worked my chain, 138 for me, and I've just gently stretched it to meet my measurement. So not stretched to the limit, just a gentle stretch to make sure that you're not having it too baggy around your body. Once you have your long chain, just pull your working loop through the first loop on your hook, and you've got a loop now, a chain, without any twists. So I'm going to work into the back loops of the chain, starting from the first one. So either you're going to chain 3 in place of your first double crochet and you'll start from the back loop number 2, or you can work a standing double crochet into loop number 1, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm pulling up my loop to the height of a double crochet. I'm going to hold on to that loop and wrap it around my hook to form loop number 2. Find the back bump in stitch number 1, nudge it on, oops, there we go, pull back loop number 3. So I'm still holding loop number 1 and I've got 3 loops now. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Second back bump, regular double crochet. And I'm going to put 1 double crochet into every back bump all the way around my loop. I should have 138 double crochets at the end. I'm back on what is hopefully a more visible background with the white yarn. I've gone all the way around with my double crochet round, and I just make sure that it's not twisted, and slip stitch into the top of my first double crochet. If you chain 3, you're slip stitching into the 3rd chain to close. At this point, you probably want to try this on and make sure that it's not too tight. Next round, I'm going to start a 5-round repeat now. So this is the first round of a 5-round repeat. So I'm going to work a standing double into stitch number 1 again. I haven't turned this time. I'm going exactly the same direction. And work a standing double crochet, or you can chain 3. I'm then going to skip 2 and into the 3rd. I'm going to work 2 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 more double crochets. I'm then going to skip 2 stitches, double crochet into the 3rd, skip 2 stitches and work 2 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 more double crochets. So the 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets is what we call a shell, and then I'm working a post in between, and that's what I'm going to do all the way around. So skip 2, work a post, skip 2, work a shell, skip 2, work a post, all the way around. So that's the end of round 1 of the repeat. I have my last shell, 2 stitches to skip, and I'm going to slip stitch into stitch number 1, or of course your 3rd chain if you chain 3 to start. Somebody recently asked me whether you need to change direction for each row, and with these lace patterns, not so much, I would say. Normally you change direction so that your work doesn't twist, so you're sort of counterbalancing each time you change direction. But the lace patterns, I don't think it matters quite so much. I like to change direction anyway, because you get a slightly different look to the stitches back and front. So if you, I don't know, you probably can't see on film here, but the fronts of the stitches always look a little bit different to the back. So you get a little bit of a variation there. So I am going to turn around and work my next round in the opposite direction. So starting with either a chain 3 or a standing double crochet into the top of that first stitch. And then I'm going to go to the next shell, which is here, and work another shell into the chain 1 space. And then I have my post, and into that post I'm going to work what we call a V, which is a double crochet, a chain 1 and a double crochet. Into the chain 1 of the next shell, I'm going to work another shell. Next post, another V, and I'm going to work that way the whole way around. So double crochet, chain one, double crochet, shell on top of shell, V on top of post, shell on top of shell, all the way around. Here at the end of the row 2 of the repeat rows, I'm going to turn this individual double crochet that I started the round with into a V. So I need to add a second double crochet into that same stitch at the bottom there, chain one, and I'm going to slip stitch into the first one to close. And now I have a V. Row 3 and 4 are very similar in that it's going to be kind of V still and always a shell on top of a shell, but I'm going to work an extra chain. So I'm just going to turn around and I'm going to start by working my standing double into that same stitch. And where I chained one, I'm now going to chain two, and I'm going to put a second double crochet then into the post on the other side of the V. So that's double crochet, chain two, double crochet into the tops of the stitches of the V. And then onto the shell, work a shell, another V, and it's going to be a double crochet on the top of that leg, chain two, double crochet on top of that leg, and then onto a shell, work the shell again. And this round, all the way around with that same pattern, slip stitch into the first one to close, and then turn around and do the same thing again, except 3 chains where you were normally working 2. So after row 3 and 4, I've got now this little sort of smiley shape starting to splay out because we're adding stitches each time, each round. So here I am at the back. Whoops, where am I? I just slip stitched to close. I'll just zoom in real quick. So here I am at the end of row 4. For row 3, I started over here with a double crochet, a chain 2, a double crochet, worked all the way around, slip stitched into this top of the stitch here to close. Row 4 started with just the 1 double crochet and then worked all the way around and finished up with double crochet, chain 3, and I've just slip stitched to close there. So I'm going to turn around, and here's row 5, the last row of the repeat. I'm going to work a standing double into stitch number 1, or of course you can chain your 3. And then I've got 3 chains, and I'm going to find chain number 2 and work a V into there. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And then on top of this double crochet here, I'm going to work a double crochet. So I have double crochet, V in the middle of the chain 3, and a double crochet on the other side. I've now got a shell, so let's work a shell. And then again, double crochet, V into the second of the 3 chains, and a double crochet out the other side, and back to a shell. So I'm just going to repeat that the whole way around. That's the end of the 5th and final repeat row, and now I'm back to row 1. I close that round by slip stitching into the top of the double crochet, and I'm going to turn around and start again. So the row repeats now from row 1, and it's going to be post, shell, post, and then shell into the V, post, shell, shell into the V, all the way around. And then every row repeats on and on, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then back to 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, as many times as you want for as long as you want this section to be. I've worked 11 rows in total, including the double crochet row that I started with, and that's going to be enough for me. I've chained one and cut my yarn. I just need to now attach this to piece number 1. I'm just going to show quickly before I go away and pin it up more precisely, but the first section, if you remember, has just these 2 flat sections at the top, and I'm just going to attach the back to the back, the front to the front, and then the 2 sort of arm sections don't get attached at all. I'm just going to do a little count up of my stitches and attach it more precisely. Each double crochet row is going to have 2 stitches. So if I count up my 2 stitches, I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 2, 4, 6, 8, 32, 4, 36. So I need to attach it to 36 stitches around here. So here I am, I'm on the centre where I started, the centre stitch on the second piece. I'm just going to put on a slip knot, pull that through and chain 1, 2 secure. And I've lined that up with the centre of this piece number 2. As I say, 36 stitches for me are going to be worked across this back section, half of which is 18. So I just need to work 18 stitches and match up the 2 sides. So I'm going to just do that by single crochet. So starting into the stitch I've just worked into, I've just slip stitched into, or slip knot attached to, should I say. And just anywhere along this double crochet, the side of, I'm going to work a single crochet. And then I'm going to work a second one. Next stitch along on piece number 2. Same stitch on piece number 1, the double crochet, and single crochet. So next stitch along on piece number 2, back to piece number 1, and I'm on to the next double crochet now, and single crochet through there. And I'm literally just finding a spot on the double crochets to coincide with the other piece. Sorry, I'm also weaving in some ends while I'm going along. So it's very tricky to see what I'm doing because there's a lot going on. But I'm literally just working single crochets around the edge of this piece number 2, and whilst doing so I'm picking up stitches from the double crochets on piece number 1, 2 in each. I've worked just half of this back section, so starting from the centre and out to the edge here. I'm now at the arm point, and you can see it's all attached. So for the arm opening, I need to just leave that unattached. So just working from my numbers, I had 138 on this white section when I started, and I'm going to attach 36 at the back, 36 at the front, so that leaves me with 66 stitches along this white section. So if I work 33 along one arm, pick up the front, work my 36 along there, I'll work 33 along the other arm and finish up with my 18 along the back. I've made it all the way around. I've just slip stitched into the top of the first single crochet, chained 1 to secure, can pull that through and weave that in. If you do all of that, you'll have something similar to this. Thank you for watching.